All right. Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see everyone's logging in right now. Having a little bit of trouble getting used to Blab for the first time. Starting us off, we've got popping in right now in the top corner. Do you want to introduce yourself in the hat?
I'm the Canadian cowboy.
Exciting. And in the bottom corner with the big blonde hair, who do we have?
I am Wonder Pea.
And our last remaining guest that we have right now, who do we have?
Zorro the Explorer.
And I am Captain Growth Mindset. So we want to welcome everyone that's joining us right now. We've got quite a few people popping in at this time. And we just want to start by first kind of explaining kind of what today is all about. So would one of our wonderful superheroes like to explain to us what exactly is Superhero EdCamp Lab all about tonight?
Well, I'll start us off then. We are here to continue to build that network, to share some great ideas, and to further what we got to experience at our first EdCamp 905.
So looking at EdCamp 905 happened not too long ago. The first ever one hit the region of Peel. Can someone please tell us just exactly how did EdCamp 905 come to be?
Well, for me, I was talking to some other superhero friends of mine, and I thought, we need to do this. We need to do this. We've been to EdCamps. They are fantastic. We haven't seen an EdCamp yet in our region, and it's time we did a super thing and brought it to Peel.
Excellent. So today's conversation it's a little different. I know right now there's a Twitter chat that's going on with some of the ed techs out there, and we're going a different route with the Blab. So why did we decide to kind of have this conversation take place over Blab versus a Twitter chat?
I think it's just a neat way to learn, and it is a little more personable, allows people to talk and share a little more than 133 characters, and we're always up for trying new things. And educators are superheroes. We're just undercover.
That's good part. So why don't we get things started off and bring in one of our first guests tonight. Why don't we bring in at this point, let's see here, roll of the dice. Why don't we go with, all right, we're going to give a boot here, and we are going to welcome in, let's see if we can get Doug Robertson. Doug Robertson, you want to pop up right now? Oh, wow. Who do we have joining us in right now? I thought we had Doug Robertson popping in.
Welcome, Doug.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, we're having a little bit of trouble with the audio.
It can be seen, but not heard.
You can't hear me?
Perfect.
Now you can hear me.
Oh,
Okay, good.
that's all right.
I had to
Thanks for popping.
Yeah,
wiggle
no,
the
we
cord.
can hear you. We got.
So,
Yeah,
Doug,
loud and
you
clear.
have some experience with EdCamps. Why don't you start us off exactly and tell us what you personally enjoy about physically attending an EdCamp?
I really like just being in the room with a bunch of other teachers and the acknowledgement that we're all experts, because we spend a lot of time. We're kind of trained with our school districts that you bring an expert to you, and when there's an EdCamp, it's the implicit acknowledgement that we're all experts, and you're in the room with just a lot of people who know so much stuff, and it's great. It's really cool to be there, and then you can have the more detailed conversations that we all wish we could have, and you can have on a Twitter chat if you dig really deeply and you have the right community and you build that kind of environment. But in an EdCamp, it's so much easier.
Now, for a lot of people that attend the first time, I know for myself, I felt like a bit of a wallflower. It was a little intimidating. A lot of people, it seems like they know what's going on. It seems a little bit difficult to dip your toe in first to the water. What would you say to someone who's attending for the first time? What advice would you give them?
I would tell them to be themselves, be as comfortable as you feel. I personally, I don't get very wallflower. I want to get in there. I want to mix it up. I'm going to give you high fives and hugs and all of that kind of stuff because that's just the kind of person that and I'm also going to just start talking in sessions. But if that's not you, then that's totally cool. Sit back and relax and kind of let it all wash over you and absorb it, because eventually somebody's going to say something that you're going to want to say something back to. And once you really, because the first time you go to an EdCamp, you're still screwed up from regular conferences. So you're waiting for somebody to be like, here is my slideshow. Now I'm going to talk to you about the thing. And you're ready to be like, okay, I'm listening now. So it takes a little while for a lot of people to make that adjustment to, oh, we're all just talking here. And I can do that. I can talk teaching all day long. And then once you let yourself get there, that's the part where you feel really good about it. If that answers your question, I think.
It does. So one of the things that we looked at when we started EdCamp 905 up is we wanted to make sure that we had something that really kind of broke the ice for everyone that was attending. Vicky, do you want to comment on what we looked at to try and generate that interest?
When we initially started the EdCamp?
Okay.
You mean like the videos and just trying to use Twitter and social media to basically advertise and share the event and just talk to people. So that was a big push. And then prizes and stuff for sure. And having those sponsorship was really key to getting people out. So I think all of those things and just trying to connect with people was definitely way to go. I'm noticing here that we have another superhero who wants to come on and talk, and it's actually, let me just make sure I get the name right here. I'll drop out. She's EdCamp Woman, and she's under Sarah EduMatch. So I'm gonna drop out and let you put her on.
All right.
All right.
Oh, I got moved.
It's a bit of musical chairs we've got going on here. All right, so we're just waiting for Education Matchmaker to jump on board. And we've got Sarah popping up right now.
Hi.
Hey.
How's everybody doing today?
Hey.
We're doing good.
Great.
How are you doing, Sarah?
Doing great. Thank you. Very happy to be here.
And where are you joining us from today?
From 1976.
So, Sarah, how would you characterize EdCamp for someone who's never been before?
Oh, EdCamp for someone who's never been before. That is a groovy question. And what I would say to that would be that EdCamp is kind of like having a discussion with your friends, but a learning discussion where everyone can participate, and it's not square like those old job conferences. You know, you get to kind of interact, and everybody has an equal voice, and it's a great equalizer. So it's all peace and love.
That's nice. I like that. So what would you say is the best part for you? We kind of are getting a feel for what to expect when we first arrived there. But for you, what is it that really makes the day in your experience?
Oh, what makes the day? That's definitely, it has to be the relationships, man. It has to be the relationships. Especially we have that PLN online, even though I don't know anything about that because that's in the future. But when you do have that PLN online, and you actually connect with them face to face, man, it's out of sight, out of sight.
That kind of ties back into what you were saying, Doug, about that personal connection that you don't get from, say, a Twitter chat. Looking at Blab's kind of a fusion of a little bit of the two. Although we have a limited number of people that can join, that we can see with the video, we still have conversations going along the side that we can then also go back to check on when we archive them at the same time. Where do you see EdCamps kind of going? Do you think it's kind of a fad right now, or do you think it's something that's going to replace the more traditional format where you have that one kind of leader in front of the group, or do you guys see this being something where, no, this is more a complement to what already exists?
I have thoughts about that. Because our number one biggest concern, I'm speaking in the royal we, number one biggest concern with EdCamps is the commodification of it. It's gonna happen. It's already happened. There are already conferences who are like, so, it's $300 to come to this conference, but then on Tuesday, we're going to have an EdCamp style session for like 2 hours. So, yay, I paid to go to this conference, and now I'm doing a thing that I could do for free. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that and keep conference makers real honest about co-opting that movement, because it's going to keep happening. Eventually, they're going to stop being free places, and eventually companies are going to be like, hey, there's an EdCamp happening and like anybody can go, so you should just go and then like suggest a topic and just start talking about Google. Could you do that? So that's my big concern with it, is eventually somebody's going to figure out a way to make money off it, and we need to be on top of that.
Right. For me, I would say that that I really do see the benefit in EdCamps. I feel like in this area of the country, then we are starting to see quite an upsurge, which is a good thing. But in some places, it is a little saturated at times. I think that EdCamp organizers need to be very mindful of that and communicate. And instead of having 5 EdCamps on the same day with like 30 people each, then why not, collaborate and get a bigger EdCamp, with the same organizers involved, and just kind of spread the connection, or even like hang out between the different EdCamps. And
I know for the 905 team, part of our inspiration was the Hamilton group. The Hamilton group we had attended, and they really kind of inspired us to kind of get the day up and running. I'm gonna bring in someone new. Let's bring in Tina Zita at this point. We'll say goodbye to our Canadian cowgirl, and let's bring in Tina.
Oh. Sarah, you just had that wig lying around, right?
I actually was cleaning my house, and I just came across it. I was just like, perfect.
Uh-huh. Are you going to be at ISTE?
Oh, I will be there, my friend.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel underdressed.
Me too.
I need to work on my
Tina.
costume. Yeah, they won today, so it's all good.
You're dressed like a soccer hooligan.
I needed a green screen.
So you need like something burning behind you, because that's what happens, right?
Tina, one of the last things that just came up was kind of with respect to the future of EdCamps, and looking at potentially the corporatization of them and someone looking to try and make money off of it. One of the challenges that we had with the 905 team was trying to maintain that sense of integrity while recognizing that we had fees and costs that we had to ensue. So we relied heavily on sponsorships. We wanted to be mindful of our sponsors, but at the same time, it's a fine balance. Where do you kind of see the future of professional development that's grassroots like an EdCamp? Do you think it's going to go the way of the major corporation side, or do you think it's something that's going to be able to hold on and maintain its authenticity?
I think the element of open space will always be there, because I think we're always going to want or strive for an opportunity to connect without the rules and the regulations that we've experienced a lot in the past. I think sometimes in education, we enjoy an experience so much that we hold on to it and we like milk it for all, kind of like a lemon that you're just trying to squeeze the juice out of. So EdCamps has been kind of the thing for the last 2-3 years. So we just try to keep doing it, and then it kind of turns into something that maybe it wasn't at the start. But I think the underlying premise of open space will always be there because we're always going to ask for it. I know I struggled too. We did one in just for our board one year. And there was a lot of questions of, can you really do one for the board? Is it truly open if you do it with the board? So as much as you struggled with the sponsorship element, there's always an element that kind of holds you back. But I think it's how you honor the voices that come to the table that really values that original vision, if that makes sense. I haven't had a third can of Coke yet, so I'm a little sluggish.
When looking at our boards in our districts, there's a strong voice at play. Do you think that it's important for boards and districts and perhaps even governments to try and support them, whether it's financially or giving space and kind of the freedom for those conversations? What would you advise people in maybe leadership roles that maybe have a little bit more clout? What could they do to help with the fight?
I think that they have a role to play in that professional learning journey. I can't see all professional learning transforming into EdCamps, but I think it definitely serves a purpose within a conversation. I've seen some great opportunities at schools using them for PD days and valuing the understanding of the individuals in the building. We have a colleague that does them down in the South with some of his schools. So again, building that network and giving people that freedom in that format. So I can definitely see them coming into play there. I know we're looking a little bit more at play dates and tagging play dates onto formal conferences. Because again, it's something that often doesn't get the time to just get together and say, hey, you really love that sphere, I really love sphere, let's just try to figure it out. Or Swift Playground just came out. I just want to hang out with 5 other people. I think for a board to give people that time and that place and to feed them, which really in the grand scheme of things is not a big cost compared to what we put out for more formal structured learning experiences. I think that's awesome, and
which you said the same about our students too, right?
Yeah, that's it. You have to model it. We just did an inquiry, and that was the big takeaway, that we as adults need to experience the same things that we're saying we want to our students to experience, that student-centered approach.
Shout out Piaget.
So, well, we haven't done one properly yet. A play date is pretty much an EdCamp, but where often with an EdCamp, people will pose a topic that they want to discuss. With a play date, you pose things you want to explore. They first did them down in the States, and Ottawa did one, I think 1 or 2 years ago. So Kim, one of our educators, Anna Kim, and myself have been dying to do one. So we tried one this spring, but it was still a very foreign concept. A lot of people ended up wanting to just explore, which was awesome. So I'm just trying to see how we could reformat it. Pretty much you put up topics of what you want to play or explore, and then other people vote and make groups that way.
Cool.
Sarah, have you done it before?
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we haven't put one on yet, but I've attended a couple of them, and they're really cool. And just like how you said, you learn a lot together. So it's very important to have opportunities for exposure to different kinds of technology and things of that nature. But I just wanted to kind of take a crack at the district role with EdCamps. I've kind of seen both sides of it because we had an EdCamp that we did at our school for 2 years while I was there, and then I just recently moved into a district role. So kind of looking at it, what we have done is that this year we kind of partnered with the school to help, continue it, but also some other teachers in the district have expressed interest in creating this type of professional learning, and the fact that it's organic and that it's traditionally driven by teacher leaders. I think that the district's role is to kind of stoke the fires a little bit, maybe helping if need be, but if not, maybe just helping to spread the word, getting the word out there, providing whatever the sponsoring organization or sponsoring teachers may need in terms of space, resources, whatever can be done.
That's pretty powerful. At the same time, that's a great experience to kind of share. I'm noticing there's a lot of comments on the side about people trying to echo the idea of having the play dates at their staff meetings and looking for opportunities maybe this summer to kind of delve into that. It seems as though a lot of the professional development that's taking place within my board in particular, it seems more directed from above than rather teacher directed. And sometimes it's a little bit more challenging, of course, to get everyone kind of on board. The great thing about the kind of open spaces format is you're really choosing the direction that you want to kind of go, and the people that are there have the mindset to really support that. Based on your experiences, can you speak to any unique opportunities that you've encountered at an EdCamp, be it something that they brought in that was a little bit different in terms of maybe the physical structure of the day, or maybe it was just something that organically happened amongst you and some of the participants? Who wants to field that one first?
I can jump in, I guess. I think what kind of turned me on to EdCamps was the very first one. It was one down in Toronto. And I remember getting in a room with a bunch of people that I knew from Twitter but hadn't met personally. And we just got into this really deep conversation around what increase looks like in the 21st century. And to me, that was kind of that's kind of why I go. I love those sharing moments. Like I know Andy and I chat about the time that we went into a gaming session and we just ended up filling this whole whiteboard with different ways that we could encourage or incorporate gaming into our classroom. And those are kind of those memorable moments. But yeah, I love those conversations that just seem to start and they're still on your mind as you leave.
And sometimes even with people that you share a classroom right beside you, you don't have necessarily that time to be able to engage and have that kind of discovery with one another. So sometimes we need to take advantage of it on our own and go out on weekends or in the evening to opportunities like that. Sarah, Doug, anything that you can kind of throw in there as well?
Sure. In terms of like alternative formats and things of that nature, I know that virtual EdCamps are kind of on the rise as well, and I think that that's a great thing that kind of eliminates the barriers of space and even time. A team of us organized EdCamp Voxer over winter break, and we're doing it again in about a month or so. But that really took away the barriers of space and time zones, all of that, because with Voxer being asynchronous in nature, then there's that, and there's the MIT Unhangouts platform that people have been using that have really helped to kind of facilitate the online EdCamp experience. So I mean, it's all about just the people. I mean, and really that's all you need, because if there's a will to meet,
we had
there's
at
a way.
905, we actually had the tablet set up. And we had Jennifer Williams calling in, so she was able to kind of give her perspective at a global session that we were running during the day, which obviously we knew she was coming. We knew there'd be somewhat of an interest in that kind of a topic, but looking for more opportunities for people to engage. And that's one of the great thing about social media, allowing you to be able to participate in different ways. You see people taking advantage of things like Periscope and other formats that are coming out as well. So that's just I think part of the greatness in all of this is that teachers are such adaptive people for the most part, and being that openness to try different things to bring it about within your general pedagogy allows you to expand not only as a person but as a learner and as a teacher at the same time. Doug, you want to chime in on that?
I was actually
Okay, go ahead.
thinking, I think it's about the other question. It popped into my head, so I'm sorry. About administration coming to EdCamps, and one of the really cool things about them coming to something like that is it will help build trust, because a lot of teachers have this fear, my administrator will never let me do X, Y, and Z. And if you have an EdCamp that is either an official school district EdCamp, which we're working on for my school district, or you just have one that's in the area and you tell your administrator to come, it gives them an advantage to see what everybody is capable of and all of the great ideas that everybody is having, which will hopefully encourage them to let go. And on top of that, it gives all of the teachers there an opportunity to kind of show off and flex in front of their administrator in a way that they might not normally do, so that they're more comfortable going to their administrator later and saying, so I want to try this thing. And you saw it at the EdCamp, or you heard me talk about it, or you heard somebody else talk about it. So this is what I want to do. And then you're building an understanding between the staff and the administration that there is a shared amount of learning. Plus, it'll help some administrators, and I'm talking like all the way up the chain to superintendents, learn something that a lot of us on the internet are still learning, to be quiet and just listen. Let somebody who knows the thing talk about the thing, rather than you trying
100%. You know what, though, on the flip side of that, one of the responses that we received from our exit ticket was people actually didn't appreciate, there were people that didn't appreciate that there was administration in attendance at the EdCamp, and they found that it took away from them being able to have that sense of safety to be able to speak openly and freely how they regardless of what the topic may be. So there's that other side of it too that kind of makes it a little bit more challenging. So I think looking at that approach of being all inclusive, there are still some people that aren't ready for that. What would you say to that?
Well, I guess
that's totally a great, that I hadn't thought. That's totally a great. I'm really, I love my administrator this year, so that's where I'm coming from. If we'd have had this discussion last year, that's where I would be. I would be coming from the other side. Like, I don't want her there.
it comes back to being
admin. That's a cool idea.
I think it comes back down to if you go into it, you have to go into it with that open mind that everybody coming has an equal say. And I guess sometimes it's hard if you haven't ever had that experience of being able to be in an authentic conversation with an administrator. Like I think I've been lucky to have had those experiences. So maybe that hasn't impacted my experiences. But I'd worry if we start saying who can and can't come. Do you know what I
Say hi. Okay, now go away. Sorry.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's a fine line. I mean, we had, again, we were really fortunate with the sponsors that we had. But the questions came up where there was some of them wanted certain access and privileges in attending, which made it a little bit tricky to kind of balance that sense of integrity on the day, not losing, the principles that really have pushed us to kind of host a day like that. And I think that's something that, as educators in our classroom, the corporatization of education is something that's continuing to butt its head into our classroom. And it's something that we need to be mindful of, as people in unions, as people working in private schools, to understand, the importance of our leadership and how it influences our students. And we have to make sure that, we're delivering the best education and not allowing, the big corporations to kind of control the messages that we're trying to get forth to our kids at the same time. So being mindful of the time, I really want to just wrap things up right now. We had 26 people pop their head in. We've had about a dozen people consistently staying in today. This, of course, was our first attempt at a Blab with the EdCamp 905 team. So we want to thank our special guests today, Doug Robertson, Sarah Thomas, Tina Zita. On behalf of the 905 team, I want to thank all our listeners and all those that participated in the chat on the side today. We're going to be looking to have another Blab again in August, kind of looking at getting ready for the school year. And we want to also highlight to everyone listening right now to get ready for EdCamp 905 next May. We're looking at Saturday, May 13th. So mark now, get your babysitters ready, whatever you need to do. Any last thoughts from our special guests?
Thanks so much for the invite. This was an awesome conversation. Very happy to be part of it.
I agree with what Sarah said. This was really cool. Thanks for
it was a fun night.
Thank you very much.
Oh my God, Sarah, your hair.
What happened?
I really feel like I have to step it up next time. I'm so sorry. Not as cool. What can I say?
You guys were great. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks. See ya.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Oh. Ah.